And the facts are very clear, Your Honor. Very few of the victims who were struck had any idea this car was barreling down on them. It's an act of a coward, plain and simple. They had no way to know it was coming. And he mowed over them and ran them over without any ability to defend themselves. What is so offensive about this conduct, Your Honor, is obviously the violent nature of it, but even more so, the defendant's conduct and behavior in this court, his complete lack of regard for the decorum of the court, the respect of the court. And I don't mean you personally, of course you deserve that as well, but I mean for the sanctity of the court, the courtroom, the process that we as Americans respect and treasure and protect for well over 200 years, and he can't engage in the most civil behavior as being quiet when another person speaks. Many, many people came into this courtroom over the course of the trial and the proceedings. Every one of them was able to sit and obey the court's order. If you ask them to stand up, they'd stand up. If you ask them to sit down, they'd sit down. If you told them court's in session, be quiet, they all would. Everyone was able to do that except Darrell Brooks. I think he was able to do it. I just don't think he wanted to. I just think this is all part of his charade. This referring to himself in the third person, trying to distract him or detract himself, I should say, from the events, taking absolutely no responsibility. It's the act of a narcissistic coward. Those words have been used here today, and nothing could be further from the truth. He is a coward. He ran like a scared little chicken from this parade, trying to slither away in the dark of night, but only to stop long enough and try and take advantage of good citizens that would help him. He calls and lies to his mom, right? Get me an Uber. I can't get into it. He lies to the officers repeatedly. We saw the time of his arrest. We heard the testimony from Daniel Ryder, a good man with good intentions and a good heart, who took this murderer into his home and held him there long enough for the police to come and take him away without any knowledge whatsoever of what had gone on. He takes advantage of everyone. He's extremely manipulative. He absolutely thinks he's in control of everything, when in fact, as he sits here in custody, he's in control of nothing except for his own behavior.
Mr. Brooks, be quiet.
Except
I'm
for
not
his...
going to sit here and be disrespected.
Mr. Brooks, be quiet.
I'm not going to sit here and be disrespected.
These are sentencing arguments and they can make them.
So I could do the same thing?
Mr. Brooks, there's nothing disrespectful. They're doing it in
Yes,
a
it is.
respectful way.
Okay, call me out of my name again.
Go ahead, Attorney Opper.
Judge, these are the facts. You heard from so many of these parents and so many of the people that were there of that fight or flight, right, that kicked in. He ran. He fled. He tried to protect his own self. That's it. That's all he did. Everybody else sprang into action, whether that action was to immediately account for their for their family and get them out of there to safety, whether it was good Samaritans. And Judge, I really thought long and hard. I had a video clip that I was perhaps going to show to you. You've seen a lot of this during the trial, but I mean, it comes from the clip when I showed during my closing argument near the end of the parade route where the Catholic community had been struck and all the shoes laying in the road and things like that. That person that took that video walked down Main Street for quite some time and captured quite a few images, and it's really quite powerful, but I also thought it's really quite painful. But one of the things that was just so remarkable to us as we watched things like that was the average citizens that just sprung into action to save somebody else. There was a particular moment where there's a person on the ground fervently performing CPR on a victim in amongst a pool of blood without any regard for themselves whatsoever. I don't know who this person was. I don't think I'll ever know. But it's a prime example of the good that came out. So many people talked this afternoon about good versus evil, and I definitely believe that's what this case was about. Darrell Brooks is the epitome of evil. He is evil in
Other
person.
courtroom, please.
No, you may not.
The community is
May I have
good.
the order
The
of the court
people
so
are
I can,
good.
I think it'd be
The
best for me to
victims
just go
are
into the
good.
other
Mr.
courtroom.
Brooks, I'm talking.
I don't care about you talking.
I don't care what you care about.
I know you don't.
Sit down and be
You-
quiet.
Nah.
Everybody has told you
Nah,
that. Stop it.
See, you got it all wrong, Miss Opper.
Judge, the community has spoken. This jury returned a verdict in 2 hours. That's how open and shut this case was.
Actually, it was
Everybody saw it.
Actually, it was
Everybody but Darrell Brooks. This jury
You think
deserves
you know.
to be commended for their conduct, their
God bless you,
patience,
though.
their
God bless you.
service.
Mr. Brooks,
I asked to go to the other courtroom.
I'm not
so we
sending
wouldn't
you
have-
there.
So we wouldn't have to go.
it's not. That is not a place you get to request to go to. It's
So
when you disrupt the proceedings.
I'm
She's
not
almost
trying to disrupt
done.
the proceedings. I'm trying to go to the other courtroom
No.
so she can finish saying the
I wanted-
BS she got to say.
I wanted to share something with you, Judge. This is something that came in on December 5th of 2021. An anonymous letter came, well, it's not anonymous, it's signed, but it's from a person we don't know, from another state, from the state of Kansas. December 5 of 2021, this person took time out of her day to write a card it's addressed to the Waukesha community, and it was sent to our office. And she wrote, "We have been praying for the healing of your community. Please know that there are people who care deeply all over this nation." That's the kind of message Darrell Brooks needs to hear, because I know during the trial there was a lot of cards, a lot of messages received in my office and in your office. Good, hardworking, decent people that respect the law, that respect human life, that respect their neighbors, that would take the time to comment and say, "Good job. We support you. We are with you." And you saw that strength behind me all day. Those young kids, children, coming up. I mean, Your Honor, I'll say this. God is good. There's been a lot of talk about God. There's been a lot of talk about religion. Darrell Brooks brought the Bible into this courtroom.
Every day.
These children are remarkable for their strength, for their healing, their physical healing. We haven't met these kids before. We've never met them. We met them today for the first time. You would never know the serious injuries that they suffered as a result of Darrell Brooks by looking at them. Of course, there's much healing to be done. But isn't it remarkable that in a year's time, look how far we have come as a community. Look how far these families have come. These families, these victims that stood up and pointed to Darrell Brooks and said, "You will not beat me. You will not knock me down." That's what we need to move forward with as a community, Your Honor. His behavior is done. We're done with him. He has forfeited his right to be in this courtroom. He's forfeited his right to be in our community, period.